Hello and welcome to Cube Speed. My name's Rich and today we're going to be reviewing and installing a brilliant new short shifter to suit the V Series Skyline. So our goal was when we developed this shifter was to come up with the absolutely best shifter possible for the V Series Skyline, and we know that you're just going to be absolutely blown away with the results of what we've created. So firstly what we're going to do is to zoom in a little bit and give it a run through the gears just to show you how it all works. Okay, so starting off in first gear and then back to second and then third is really easy to push forward, don't even need to guide it. It's almost impossible to miss the second or third upshift now. So back to fourth, through to fifth, sixth, and then for reverse, it's got a reverse lockout just like the factory shifter. So just push down and pull back in reverse. So wow, that is just so nice to use. So you can probably see that the shifter throw is being reduced by about 30%. But what is so hard to show on video is just how nice this shifter is to use. It's just now beautiful and solid and mechanical, and it's got next to no sloppiness at all. And each gear is just like super well defined, so you can find each gear just really easily. And the second and the third upshift, so just showing you again, so just pushing it forward like that and you're just in third. It's just crazy. So now we're going to pull this thing apart and show you why it shifts so damn nice. Okay, so this is what you're going to receive in your kit from Cube Speed. And on this side here, we've just got a factory shifter as well, just for a comparison. So just going through the components that you're going to receive in your kit from Cube Speed. So firstly, we've got the installation hardware, and then we've got the reverse lockout plate. We've got the spacer plate. We've got the lower pivot washers, so these two here. And then of course like the short shifter itself. Now our short shifter has a rubber insulated lever, like in this section here. And the purpose of this is to reduce noise transfer and heat transfer to the interior of the car. So the shifter shaft itself, so this section here is made of a 4140 steel, which is a very high strength steel. So on our shifter we've gone with a brand new pivot bush. So the pivot bush is this white section here. So our pivot bush is made like to very strict tolerances to remove all of the excess play that you find like in the factory shifter. So it's hard to show on video, but the factory pivot bush is really quite loose, and yeah, it's responsible for a lot of the looseness with the factory shifter, whereas the Cube Speed one is made to very tight tolerances and fits really firmly on the shifter. Okay, so then just moving on down to the lower pivot of the shifter. So the lower pivot is this section here. Now this section contains one of the other secrets as to why our short shifter works just so nicely. So the factory shifter uses this sleeve in a plastic bushing. So, and with this factory setup, it's really stiff and it creates a lot of binding when you're shifting gears. But with the Cube shifter, we've gone with a dual bearing system. So we'll just show you what those bearings look like. So they're installed like in that lower pivot. So hopefully you can see that all right. So these dual bearings are supported by these special stainless steel washers. So we'll just assemble it now just to show you how it all goes together, and also what the difference is like compared to the factory shifter. So we'll just put one washer on and then the second washer on. So when you hold these two together on that lower pivot, the result is like a really super smooth action because of the dual bearings, and there's absolutely zero free play in there as well. So all right, so nextly we're just going to whip into the install. Okay, so we're just going to get started with the removal of our factory shifter. So the first thing to do is just undo this bolt on the lower pivot. So we'll just speed through this section. And then just remove the reverse lockout plate. So again, we'll speed through this as well. So then the whole shifter assembly will just pull out like that. And we're going to keep this spring, which you use for the reverse lockout. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead with the assembly of the new cube speed shifter. So the first thing you want to do is just give this shifter housing just a nice clean out. Just make sure there's no burrs or anything on there, and then just give it a smear, just like with a wheel bearing grease or something similar to that. And then you just need to reinstall the factory reverse lockout spring. So we're going to reuse that one. And then install the cube speed short shifter. So you'll see on the pivot bush here. So there's a key here, and then there's a keyway. So that's the way that you line it up in the shifter housing. So we'll just sit there like that for now. And then the next piece to put on is the spacer plate. So the spacer plate is orientated the way that I'm showing it there. And then the reverse lockout plate. So putting the reverse lockout plate on top. So you need to push against the spring here. So it can be like a little bit tricky just to do this with one hand. So but just line that up and then just put in the bolts just finger tight just for now. Yeah, so we're not going to do these up too tight yet because we're going to need to adjust this reverse lockout plate, which is on a slide. So, but the next bit we're going to do is install the washers, which go either side of the dual bearings. So they just go on the bottom of the lever here. So they just snap into place. So you can see that ridge there, that ridge faces towards the inside where the bearing is. And then just using the supplied bolt. Screw that together. And at this stage, yeah, we can do this up like factory, you know, we can do this up super tight, like to whatever the factory specs might happen to be. We just do them up, you know, really nice and tight like that. You're not going to make it bind because we've got the dual bearings in there. All right, so now we can install the shifter lever. So we're just going to start by just installing the lock nut or jam nut. So we're going to screw that all the way down in this case. And then your upper shifter lever actually comes in two parts like this. So this is the part that's got the rubber insulator in it. So you just need to screw these together. The only thing we'd say is just on this thread here is definitely use like a medium strength thread locker on there just to prevent it from unwinding. So we'll just screw that together. And then obviously screws onto the lower lever. So there is some degree like of height adjustability. So if you screw the lever, if you screw this upper lever right down, you end up in effectively like the factory kind of shifter height. But if you want to make it like a little bit taller, you know, so like it's a little bit less reach for the driver, you can wind this lever up a bit and then yeah, lock it off with the lock nut underneath. The only thing that we would say is to make sure that this upper lever screws onto the lower lever by at least 20 mil, if not like 25 mil, before you do the lock nut up underneath to secure it. So we'll just put that together now. We'll just lock that off. Okay, and then we're going to install one of our super sexy cube speed gear knobs. So these don't come with a kit, but they're available separately. So we'll just put that on. And you line up the logo and then just do up the lock nut underneath. Yep, beautiful, just like that. So now we're going to just move on to the reverse lockout process. Okay, so now we're going to set up the reverse lockout. So as we were showing before, like this, the reverse lockout plate, like the factory one, slides backwards and forwards like that due to the slots in that lockout plate. So it's important to spend some time to get this right. Because the lockout plate not only prevents you from going into reverse when you're trying to go into sixth, but it also provides a guide as well, like to guide the lever into fifth gear and sixth gear. So the easiest way we found to set it up is to start with the plate loose, and then find fifth gear, and then slide the plate so it just touches the reverse lockout pin, and then slide it back a little bit. And then do the plate up, not super firm, but just medium, I guess, because we're still probably going to need to do some adjustments. You can usually get away with just doing up like 2 of the bolts as well. Okay, so the first thing you do is just to make sure you can still get fifth. So, and in this case, it's not quite working properly, so we're just going to need to slide the plate a little bit to the left. So we'll just slide it a little bit to the left there. Do it up again. So now we'll see if we can get fifth, and we can get sixth easily. And the plate's guiding it nice and easily into those gears as well. So next to check to make sure if we can get reverse. So to get reverse, this reverse lockout pin needs to go underneath this the lockout plate. So if you push down like that, so we've gone underneath the lockout plate, and now we can get reverse. So it might take a little bit of mucking around with, to get it right, but it's really worth spending some time on this process to get it like 100%. So once that's done, you can just do up the lockout plate like nice and firm. And then, I would test it all through the gears again. Make sure, especially fifth and sixth, and make sure reverse is engaging nice and easily as well. Okay, well that's it for this video. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to get in touch with us, either on our YouTube channel, our socials, or of course our websites. So thank you very much for watching. Remember to get out there, shift some gears, have some fun.